Hi, welcome back once again to the StarFleet Leadership Academy. We are here with Jim Kirk and with Jim Kirk, and I'm Jeff. And the two Jims and Jeff are here to remind you of some leadership lessons that we learned from James T. Kirk, Captain Admiral of the classic television show Star Trek, and also the film series and the books and all the things that have come in the aftermath of that. One of the things, if you go back and look at the James T. Kirk that we find in the television series, is that we discover that he was not afraid to let his team or the people around him do their job as leaders. In other words, for him as a leader and as the captain of the ship, it was not always important that he was right, but he wanted to do what was best. And if you think about it, think about that original show, time and time and time again, it was never that he was so obsessed and full of himself that he had to always be right and making the right decisions. As a matter of fact, usually the way that the formula for writing Star Trek went is that usually by midpoint of the episode, when there was a crisis and there was something going on, the way that they kind of formulated that Star Trek Bible, if you will, as to how to solve or how to execute an episode, is that Kirk would inevitably call in the brain trust. In other words, he would call in that kitchen cabinet, call in those group of people in that particular episode that he was going to trust. Usually that included Dr. McCoy and Mr. Spock, but then sometimes some of the other crew. Mr. Scott would be part of it, Mr. Sulu, Mr. Chekhov, Lieutenant Hura, or it even could go deeper than that. It could be another character that had been introduced to us in a particular episode. But it was about gathering around and gathering the information. And in those moments, it was very, very clear that Kirk may not have been the smartest one in the group, but there was never any doubt about who the leader was. And so he did what good leaders are supposed to do. He didn't have to be the smartest, and he didn't have to always be right in what he thought, but he had to have the information that he needed to make a decision. And once a decision was made, then as a leader, he was going to follow through with that decision. One of the leadership lessons that is important to learn is this, that to bring out the best in others, we need to learn to focus on doing right, not just being right. And for the Captain Kirk character, one of the things that made that initial crew so iconic and so beloved, if you will, in the minds of those that like that series is because they found a way to bring out the best in all those characters. It's funny, as time goes by, you've heard some of those characters, some of the actors talk about how they wanted bigger parts, how they wanted bigger roles. Let me kind of cut through that just a little bit and realize that we're talking about a fictional TV series portrayed by actors and characters that came to life. There was a few years ago that Mr. Sulu was upset because the character of Sulu was never made a captain and never got his own enterprise or his own starship, to which William Shatner responded one time in a television interview, it was just a TV show. Starfleet Command is not real. You can call yourself a captain and still not be a captain. It's just a TV show. It's a movie. And kind of poke back at George Takei, who was becoming an activist and kind of stepping into his own and doing that. And some of that crew would complain that Shatner and Nimoy, DeForest Kelley would hog all the big moments, but of course they were going off the script, and they were the stars, the big stars, the marquee stars, and then the other actors had their roles. In real life, Star Trek may not have been the happiest family behind the scenes, but if you think about it, these are actors playing a part, they were getting their paychecks, and they had a job. It is years later in time that has given them an opportunity to take their own characters that have somehow become almost mythical and bring them to life, where they see more in those characters than maybe they initially did. Those characters have become bigger and bigger and bigger. Well, in the James T. Kirk character, one of the things that makes that character so big is the way that he did work, believe it or not, with that crew that sometimes didn't seem to appreciate it in real life, but at least in the fictional world, he made it work by bringing out the best in them. And so for you as a leader, whoever you lead, how can you bring out the best in people? See, you don't have to know how to do everything. You might be the person with the idea, you might be the person with the plan, you might be the person with an idea and you have no plan on how to get there, and so you have to lean on the people that are around you to get where you need to be. For example, this particular video stream is exactly that way. all the programming that we've done here at the church at the 4434 in Motion came about because of an idea that started with me, an idea that was born in the pandemic, but an idea that had no bounds for going any further until I started assembling the team of people that helped put this together, particularly Mark Percy, who helped design and kind of put the structure and the infrastructure of what we were doing here. And then we have to rattle in some of the other folks that are part of our media team to make that work. Again, I'll take credit for having the initial idea. How does this all work? I have no idea. How are you watching this now? I have no clue. How will I know that you'll see this and it will look right and sound right and be everything that it's supposed to be and communicate what we need? I have no clue. Because for me right now, it's as simple as and as complicated as looking at a camera and talking, but it's all the other folks that you aren't seeing behind the camera and all the other folks that are working to make this media moment take place. It's a team. Teams are important. But yet when you free the team up to do what they know how to do, each one finds enjoyment, each one finds a meaning, a purpose, each one discovers that they really do have a role in a task, and their task, when you put it all together, can make change and make the world a better place. Star Trek taught that, even back in the 60s, which is really kind of weird if you think about it, because it stepped outside the box to introduce characters who were willing to do that. Revolutionary at the time. By the time the movies hit, not so revolutionary, we knew what to expect. And in today's world, a leadership characteristic that we need to hold on to. That's it. From the hallowed halls of the StarFleet Leadership Academy, I look forward to joining you here again next time.